and welcome. This is the special election coverage for the Governorship and State Houses of Assembly elections right here on Trust TV. I am Ibrahim Yusuf, and of course, I've got my trusty co-anchor here with me.
Yes, Hamza Idris. Viewers, once again, welcome to the big room. Yes, Nigeria Decides on Trust TV.
Yes, this is where we give you all the information and, of course, all the tidbits and side attractions coming in as regards to the current governorship and State House of Assembly elections going on in all various states across the country. The elections results have even started coming in from some polling units.
Yeah, very funny results and interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And the viewers, we've been on this since morning. We didn't rest for a single minute because we don't want to let you back. We want you to be updated, and this is what we've been doing all through. Earlier in the morning, it was preparations for the voting, despite the skepticism, Nigerians in their millions, right?
Exactly.
They have all gone out, and I think this is fulfilling.
Yes, it is. It is. And it's actually a good thing that some of the problems that were visible in the presidential elections, some of them have been taken care of by INEC.
Especially on the side of INEC. It is good news for them. Okay. Yes, as we speak. Of course, there are issues here and there, and in a big country as Nigeria, you cannot dismiss or think that you will have a seamless election. Yeah. So, but INEC, they have done their best. I think they learned a lot. Last night, that was our topic of discussion, the lessons learned during the presidential and national assembly elections and how to correct them.
Exactly.
And I think they have done that to greater extent. The percentages maybe will be announced later and all that. But across the country, we have had that, of course, they all went to polling boards when due, and this is really good.
All right, so well, we'll be having information coming in from correspondents across the various states, giving us updates about what's going on in their neck of the woods. I think we have Abiodun Alade from Lagos right now. Abiodun, are you there?
Yes, I'm here with you.
So how are you, Abiodun?
So can you give us an update on what's going on?
I'm fine, and I must confess that Lagos is calm. Yes, so as at now, most of the polling units, people have actually stopped voting and counting has been done. And also we can see every deployment of security operative. Right behind me, we are Tikeja here. Now, and you can see that right behind me, you have a deployment that is made up of the military, made up of the police, just to ensure that we don't have any breakdown of law and order within this part of Lagos. So, and that is what we have seen in most part of the state, because earlier in the day during voting, we had some areas where there were voter suppression, where people were being intimidated, where people were being stopped from voting. Places like some of the polling units in Etiosa, in Okota, in Oshodi. So even some part in Ikorodu as well. So I think that led to the deployment of soldiers, to the military to also support the police in securing the state. But so far, I think it's fair, especially on the part of INEC. INEC must be commended. The deployment of materials were done very early as 8:30. Most of the polling units, people started voting in most of the polling units, and by 9:30, I believe that there was no place where people have not started voting, except in area where we have crisis.
Okay, Abiodun, earlier in the morning we had that, as you rightly said, serious voter suppression. In which areas of the city?
Well, something about this voter suppression is that we also saw some of the clips that emerged before this election, and we all know some of those places. These are places that are strategic. These are places that it is believed that you have high population of non-indigenous. So in places like Okota, in places like Oshodi, places like some part of Ikorodu, some part of Ojo. So these are places that have a good population of non-indigenous. And one of the things that we got very early this morning was that some people were going about jeering their bell, telling people that if you are not voting for this particular party, make sure you do not come out. Now, this totally tallies with what we heard from the leader of the Lagos State Park Management Committee, so Alhaji Musiliu Aksoya, popularly known as MC Oluomo. So this tallies with that message that sent, and there have been reported cases of that voter suppression.
All right, so Abiodun, can you tell us the current situation in those areas now? Because we've learned that voting has actually concluded in other areas and some results have even started coming in. What is the situation now in those particular areas where we had those incidents?
Well, like in places like Elegushi, like places like Etiosa, some about 10 polling units in Etiosa, INEC have said that election will hold tomorrow. So for now, election did hold in some of those areas. In places like Oshodi, one of the things that we saw was that there was heavy deployment of soldiers, just as you can see behind me. So this area too, this area around Ikeja too, there was this earlier report that people were not being allowed to vote because Computer Village is just by my right hand side, and ahead of me is the road that leads to the airport. So there was that report as well that they were not being allowed to vote. So I also believe that was the reason why soldiers were being deployed to also support the police officer. So one of the things that we have found is that in some of those places, soldiers have been deployed to actually encourage people to vote. But of course, you will know that when people are beaten, when people have been chased out, there is a likelihood that they won't turn out to come and vote again. And in fact, some of these people were even accredited before the ballot boxes were being snatched. So that gives some level of complication on what is going to happen. But what we have had is that people have been asked to go back to actually go and vote in some of those areas.
Okay, Abiodun, you made mention of Etiosa, right? Local government, also, yeah, Etiosa, where they have now shifted election to tomorrow. But from the story we have with us here is that it is the INEC officials who absconded because of the experience they had during the presidential election. Now, have they given any assurance that they will turn up tomorrow, since they were unable to turn up today?
Yes, INEC has given that assurance from 8:30 a.m. by tomorrow that they will turn up, and the idea is that they are going to have every deployment of security operatives backing them. You know, one of the things about this election is that INEC is not just the only stakeholders. They have other stakeholders, especially the police that ensure the security of the electorate and also of INEC staff. So when the police are unable to perform their duty, INEC is actually forced in some instances to actually find a way of shifting that poll. So that is one of the things that has happened at Etiosa. But where we have had voter suppression this morning as well, what we have had is to have deployment of soldiers there to actually back up what the police is able to do. But for me, I think that our security operatives are being reactive instead of being proactive. Election has been done in this state, since 1999, and from 2007, we all know areas that are prone to violence. We know places that even if you don't have any security operative, election will be free and fair in those areas. But then we have places where we know that there will always be violence. But unfortunately, instead of the security operative to preempt this violence, what they do most of the time is to react, which I think is not the best way to go.
All right, so Abiodun, a little bit away from the voter suppression issue. You were there for the presidential election, and now you're here for this one. How will you rate the level of turnout? How will you compare the turnout of voters from the presidential to the governorship election?
I'm not expecting something different from what we had done in the presidential election. Maybe just a little bit higher, maybe just a little bit better. Because in fairness, because INEC started very early today, by 12:30, 1 p.m., most of the polling units were scanty. There were no we didn't have voters on the queue again. So that within 3 within less than 3 hours, people have finished actually voting. So I think the turnout was not seen massive as we are projected, but I think it might be a little bit higher than what we had done in the presidential election, maybe just by some few hundred.
And what are the politicians saying, those who have gone out to cast their vote? There are some reports of allegation of intimidation of people who are supposed to vote for them and things like that.
Okay, earlier today when the governor voted, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at his polling unit, he commended INEC, he commended the electorate for coming out, because at his polling unit there was a massive turnout. So and to him everything was going on smoothly. But when the candidate of the Labour Party, who happened to be more like the major challenger, voted at Anifowose in Ikeja here, he actually complained about voter suppression, that members of his party were being prevented from voting. And there is a video that is circulating of a particular House of Assembly candidate of the Labour Party who said he was beaten up by some, that they prevented him, people as a candidate, from voting at his polling unit. So we have had different narration from the different parties, while most of the candidates of the APC have said the election is free and fair, the Labour Party are complaining of voter suppression.
Okay, are we expecting casting of votes to get into the night, or you think everything started as scheduled and the likelihood is that everything will be rounded up before the end of the day?
In fact, I can confirm to you that in most of the polling units within Ikeja, polling unit within Agege, polling unit within Ifako Ijaye, as now, as counting has ended. So even most of the INEC staff have been moved out to, to the collation center. So I'm not expecting that we are going to have cases of voting till midnight. I think for most part of Lagos State, on or before 7 o'clock, everything will have been concluded.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Abiodun, for that update from Lagos. We'll check back again for more information as it comes through concerning the results that we'll start to see from polling units. Thank you very much, Abiodun.
Thank you.
Yes, Malebra. I was thinking.
Yeah.
What will be happening in the southwest? Whether there will be upset as we witnessed during the presidential election.
The thing is, there's been lots of attention is on Lagos right now because of what happened in the presidential election. I mean, like it took everyone by surprise.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of people are eager to see, will that trend continue, or will the ruling party actually bring something out of their sleeve?
And that is why I said we have to have interest there. You know, during the presidential election, the Labour Party, the candidates, the supporters and all that, they were so upbeat. They were celebrating.
Exactly.
But you can hear the gubernatorial candidate now. He said there is suppression and all that. And once you begin to hear things like this, it means things are not really in favor of certain people.
Going their way, exactly. But we'll have to wait and see until the results come in so that we can be able to establish where these elections are going to swing, because definitely there's lots of interest in that part of the country, in that part of the country, and of course elsewhere as well. I mean, like there are lots of states whereby some states are generating more interest than others.
Yes,
you understand. For example, Lagos, Kano is developing lots of interest as well. Kaduna as well.
Almost, like in Kaduna, the last story I read was I think Governor Eropai and Obasani, they are alleging voter intimidation in southern Kaduna.
Okay, so you see, those are the intrigues that we're actually looking at in these elections. Because of what happened in the presidential election, a lot of people have lots of interest.
Kaduna felt in favor of
the PDP, exactly. And so lots of people were actually waiting to see what the ruling party would be able to pull off in that state. And of course, traditionally, Southern Kaduna has been a stronghold of the PDP, traditionally.
Yes. So if the governor and his candidates are crying foul, it's not unexpected.
Yes, it would not be unexpected. It's just like what we saw in Lagos, the Labour Party complaining of things not going their way. So,
but I think the bigger picture is that Nigerians are now have taken their fate into their hands.
Yes.
And because if powerful people, you know, a governor, a candidate, you know, party chairman of the ruling party, and all that.
Exactly.
And it got across almost all the major political parties, because now we are not just talking about PDP and APC. We have Labour Party, we have NNPP, we have SDP, for instance, in Nasarawa.
Is that an indication of political maturity on the part of electorate?
As far as I'm concerned, we cannot wish that away. We cannot dismiss that, yes. And I think we should congratulate ourselves that we are maturing, and people are exercising their rights, and people from across the divide are also coming out to voice out where they think things are not going normal. Yes, I think we're expecting our guest, Honorable Suleiman Ibrahim, right? An APC member.
Yes, so
yes, he will soon join us.
Any moment from now, he will be in the studios to discuss some of these issues.
Exactly. But as a reminder to Nigerians, we are conducting this election gubernatorial in 28 states, and yeah, we are, you know, having election in 28 states, 11 governors seeking re-election, 17 are trying to fill vacuums that will be created.
Brand new governors.
By
newly minted governors, so to speak.
Exactly. Yes, I think there is a phone call coming in. Hello? Oh, we have lost the phone call. Okay, viewers, you feel free and call. Our lines are open. Let's hear what is happening, you know, at your ward, in your local government area, in your state, and whatever you had in any part of Nigeria. Feel free to share freely with us, but make sure what you tell us online is actually truth and nothing but the truth. And this is to welcome Honorable Suleiman Ibrahim, a member of the APC. Welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much. Usman Ibrahim, beg your pardon.
Yes.
Okay.
Usman Ibrahim.
Yes, Usman Ibrahim.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Yes. So how has it been?
Well, it's done already. Everything's fine so far. So far, so good. Yes.
Yes. Well, for instance, I'm sure you're from Borno, because I know you.
I do.
Yes. Have you heard anything from there? Let me ask, maybe around Marte, around Krenua, around Gubio. I spoke with Dr. Bulamamali Gubio, and he said he was there ready for election. This is good news, because years back, people from that part of the country, you know, they elect, you know, their leaders in Maiduguri. But here we are today. People going to Gubio, people going to Guzamala, people going to Marte, and all that.
Well, you forgot to mention Gala and Bama, the one of the most important and significant. Actually,
exactly. Even Goza.
Yes, yes, but we talk of Ngala is more of none than that area because of the troublesome and what have you. Actually, alhamdulillah, the election is okay. For now, it's okay. And in Maiduguri, I'm assuring you right now, before I came in, somebody is calling me and telling me everything is okay. So I think we'll pray for such thing to happen. That's what what we're looking for.
You are a member of APC. It was really tough for your party during the presidential election. Am I correct?
Well,
why was it tough for APC?
It was not tough. It's there, the number is there, and we won our election. I don't think there's anything name called tough. No, it is elections, and we won it.
Okay. Honorable Usman, why I'm saying this is because, you know, I reported from there for more than 15 years. I know in 2019, you gave President Buhari over 900,000 votes.
I gave him 3.8 million votes.
No, I'm talking about presidential election.
Yeah, the MPO, that's what the leadership I'm doing is called
MPO, yeah. But I'm referring to Borno. We will go to...
Okay, talking about the state, all right, okay.
We're starting from your home front before we get
roughly
to
a million,
the national. Yes, but this time around it's just 200-something thousand in Borno. What really happened? Is it voter apathy or what?
Well, you can name them all. One, the cash issues. You know, with Nigeria in the learning process, actually, it is a politics. Let me borrow from a definition of politics by David Essen. It says, "Who get what done and how." It is the how that we got. There was no money. There was no cash, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, give me, I give you."
Okay.
And that's the things that we're dealing with. And actually, the laying the foundations been laid now. I think it's good for that. Now, this called cashless politics, cashless elections, and we did it. So it is that's why it makes that issue of number that reduced.
Okay.
But however, everything is okay.
All right. So let's move away slightly away from that, and let's talk about the elections itself. The performance of INEC. They were largely criticized at some point during the presidential election for logistics issues, not deploying on time, and all that. Did you get from the reports that you got specifically from Borno? Were there issues like that?
No, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. Actually, what I see is the normal process that INEC does, it thinks, and the result was announced, and that is what we had. A lot of people have they're entitled to their opinion. I can tell you anything. They can tell anything they want. But I believe the announcement was done, and I think it was considered.
And as you rightly said, honestly, I saw Governor Baba Gana Zulum on television. He was excited. He said he was impressed, and he was
He lost by
optimistic.
people. In fact, the women came in, all women in Borno State, they said we bought Zulum. That's one of the things that no governor ever in Nigeria has had that. All the women came out fully and said, want to vote Zulum.
What has he done to them?
I don't know. No, it's, the truth of the matter is that there's nothing we can hide about. I wish all the governors should be like Zulum. Nigeria would be like America or Dubai.
Okay. Yes, compilation. You know, they have started doing that across the state. What are the feelers?
Well, I think in the process, I think Nigeria is big. It's a state in the north and the rest of the country. With this process, I think we're going to get there. I believe that's the Nigerian hope. Let's not forget that there's tomorrow. And I think with the process, I think everything is okay.
All right, so let's talk about the APC now. We were just talking before you came in about how some APC states which were being led by APC actually lost. APC lost those states during the presidential election. From what you have heard or from what you have seen on the ground right now, is there any? What are the chances of APC wrestling back those states?
Well, I think. For now, let's keep the momentum at the moment, but I believe APC is going to make it. Okay. From all indications.
Okay.
Being a cashless system, cashless society, I think APC is going to make it. Okay. That's my
okay, Honorable Usman, maybe we will take a phone call now from Abraham in Edo State. Abraham, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, what is the latest from Edo? We are in which part of Edo now?
I'm speaking from Ikpoma.
Ikpoma.
Yeah,
okay.
That's Edo Central.
Okay, Edo Central. Okay, what is happening? What do you have for us?
I'm speaking from Edo Central.
Yes, I heard you. What is happening there now? Because we know that there is no governorship election in Edo State, right?
There's no governorship, but there is we have an assembly.
Yes.
And we also have one national assembly election too.
Okay. So what happened in the morning and up to this hour?
It was peaceful in the morning. I went to vote, and they gave preference to senior citizens. It didn't take me time. There was peace. Nothing.
All right, so thank you very much for that contribution, and of course we look forward to hearing more from you wherever you are around the country to give us updates on how the elections went and how they are going currently as well. The number on your screen, please give us a call and let us know. So before we took that call, you were saying you were confident that the APC was actually going to make a significant inroads with these elections.
Yes, I can assure you that there are feelings right now. Some areas are very smoothly conducted elections. So many, in fact, particularly Kano right now, things is going normal and what have you. So I believe what my prayer to say that things goes normal, and for my party to win. I think that's what I'm trying to pray for.
Someone close to Buhari campaign organization. You did a lot for the president. What do you think will be his biggest takeaway from this election?
I mean, Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. President is one of the democratic hero for Africa, if you want me to put it in that terms. because definitely at the end of the day we'll come back and give him that honor.
Despite the bashing now.
There's nothing like
you admit the bashings, right?
Yeah, sure. But this is the man who laid the foundation right now. He created the environment and enabling environment for people to take overtakes from nowhere. And there are so many things that the enabling playing ground, it is what is all matters. And I'm sure a man who says, I am going to give a free and fair election. And that's what we've seen. President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu won his election free and fair. That is exactly what is on ground now.
Okay.
Because it's Nigerians that choose him right now.
Okay.
So that's what we stand for.
All right, thank you.
I will definitely get the name, yes.
I will come back to that. We have Chenonso from Bida, Niger State. Yes. Hello, welcome to the program, Chenonso.
Yeah, my name is
What is your contribution?
I'm calling from Bida, Niger State, the ancient city of the Nupe Kingdom.
Okay. What is your contribution?
In fact, the election here has been concluded and the counting has been concluded. But there is one thing I observed. During the presidential election, there are these pictures of people, or what would I call it, those pictures they used to paste, where people's names and people's pictures are being pasted on the wall, where people can locate get access to their details. Today, most polling units doesn't have it in bigger towns. You understand me? And some people that couldn't see their polling unit during the presidential election and said, okay, they are going to vote today. They were deprived because most of them couldn't locate their polling unit. About more than 20 people I know, we are disenfranchised today.
Because they could not, they could not locate their polling units?
Yes, because they couldn't locate their polling unit during the presidential, and they were thinking, okay, today, which is the governorship election, they will come out and do such. They will come out and express their franchise. But today, they couldn't, that names and all those things, we are not paid. Most polling units, like the one at close to, if you know Peter Town, close to Ilori Garage area, it was not paid there. You understand me? So it's quite unfortunate. And lastly, before I drop the call, what I was watching your program on one of your correspondents from Lagos was talking of the way they voters suppression. And I want to say this to Nigerians: in a process that brought about a process that could not be where a process that brought about voting like this, where people were being suppressed like this. The outcome of that process, it is not an excellent one. Anybody that wins cannot be addressed as your excellence or our excellence. You understand me? Because the process that brought that person into power is not an excellent process. So let Lagos the outcome of Lagos election, it is not an excellent one. Anybody that wins could not be addressed as his excellency. We will only address that person by his name. Thank you very much. Chinonso, I am calling from Bida Town.
All right, thank you very much, Chinonso from Bida Town, for that passionate contribution from Niger State. Okay.
I think he was basically talking about people inability to locate their polling.
Yes, which was an issue that we actually faced in the presidential election as well. A lot of people complained about that. Do you think this was a missed opportunity by INEC to rectify things like this?
Well, it's a bigger society like this. Definitely, we must expect side things. We shouldn't look things in a kind of way that frighten people. Definitely, certain things we should put question in the first instance. Definitely, we manage the situation, we learn, and the learning goes on. I believe it's more rankling from here and there. We must have been taking place, definitely, in election like this.
Okay.
Yeah. All
right. Thank you. Let's go to Port Harcourt. We have Hans on the line. Hello, Hans. What is happening in Port Harcourt?
Yeah, hello, good day.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I voted, I was supposed to vote today. I checked up to like 10 kilos just to go and vote. I got there and they said my name is not in the beavers. It's quite an unfortunate the country we are. I am 13 years old and I cannot vote. Like, I cannot stand up for what I believe in and said, I voted in the presidency. How are you not telling me that? You accredited me. Now you are telling me you check your record, my name is not there. But the first list you brought out, my name was there.
Have you voted during the presidential election?
Reflecting my name.
Hans, have you voted during the presidential election?
Voted.
At the same unit?
Voted. The same unit, the same polling, the same ward. I trekked the same distance, 10 kilometers to get to my polling unit.
And all of a sudden, your name is not on the beavers.
The same is on the beavers, but the list, the picture outside, my name was there. The list, my name was there. Why can't I just express my feel like this is my future that Nigeria deal with?
Okay, Hans.
Go out and
other people at that polling unit, have they voted?
I can tell you, I am not there yet. I'm home now, but I can tell you, from 8 o'clock we get there till around 11. I can tell you over 30% experience the same thing. What the INEC can do was to come and say that the beavers that is here is from A to K, then from K to Z is not here yet. We should wait. We waited till after 2 to 3.
And nothing happened. Okay, Hans, thank you very much. We will extend your observations to the right people. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Honorable, you have had Hans from Port Harcourt. He said he saw his name somewhere, in the presidential, and he was able to vote, but this time around, he was disenfranchised of sorts.
The situation is like, I said that garbage in, garbage out. And I still look at the situation in a kind of a situation like this, definitely things are going to happen. I'm sure there's a misstep somewhere, just like we're looking at how the currency now situation in Nigeria. You have your money in the bank, you can't even access it, and so on and so forth. And communication is things that definitely will occur inside things until one will get to a certain degree. Otherwise,
we hope INEC is hearing what is happening, because they told us that they have reserved beavers so that they will deploy them in any area where there are issues.
When you can see the situation in the country, the development and what have you, you look at the time, the time frame, it can't work. So definitely we have to manage a situation like this. I don't think INEC should be blamed. I think INEC has done something. Well. Just like if I could today, I would create a television station in Nigeria. I say I create it to trust, because if all of a sudden you come up and now look at the the quality that you're trying to present to Nigeria. But people should accept the reality, accept the blames, and then you can improve tomorrow. Yes. That's what it is. Okay. So it is no need for harm if it's simply because he voted during the presidential at the gap of 20-something days, and things can miss.
Especially the fact that they had to reconfigure the beavers machine
and so many things of that nature.
New data and all
that.
All right. All right, so we have another call, Ibrahim from Kano. Hello, Ibrahim. What is your contribution?
Yeah, we are here to watch why it's only Niger and
Hello. Maybe we missed Ibrahim.
Okay, I think we lost that.
Give another try.
That's what we are talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, so things like this are actually a bit expected to happen.
Fault.
Oh, all right. Well, so we've talked about what you are giving INEC a pass mark now from your remarks.
I really congratulate them on this basis, because they've tried.
Okay.
No matter what, we cannot apply any magic here. It's something that has to follow due process.
We brought some guests. We brought some guests last night, and of course they have attended several meetings with INEC. They said INEC should have been more transparent in terms of communication. For instance, telling Nigerians that, of course, we are deploying this technology, but we are conducting manual election. These are election observers. We brought them here, and they confirmed that it's not electronic voting and electronic transmission. It is manual. But INEC was short of telling Nigerians this. And one of the guests cited example of Germany, that they told their citizens that, look, electronic voting, not now. It's not yet time. So going forward, how do you think maybe INEC will improve on some of these salient issues?
Well, the improvement, it has to be in practical terms. It starts from
Yes.
to the end. Otherwise, you won't get there.
Like from card reader.
Yes, yes.
Now we are using beavers.
For me, what I heard from the chairman the other time was from the beginning, from the minute it started, I think explaining, it tells Nigerians, but Nigerians, they refuse to understand, or rather they want to listen to what he's telling them. It is something that, no matter, it's about communications. Definitely there must be a rancor there. Definitely there must be, gap of miscommunication or what have you. We just started there, somebody would just all of a sudden, as if they are going to play magic. Nobody plays magic.
Well, so a lot of people are actually of the opinion that INEC was the one who backed themselves into a corner. Actually, they made the electronic transmission of results like the cornerstone of this particular election, and at the end of the day, it didn't happen. So a lot of people are actually blaming INEC for pushing that narrative of the electronic transmission.
For me, I don't think there's any blame for INEC. So far, INEC that tried. They can't do any magic more than that.
You are right.
That's my take. I don't have any relation with them. That's what I said.
Exactly.
What they have done
as a citizen and as a politician.
I express my.
Thank you. We have a caller from Kogi. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Tell us your name and the precise location you are calling from and why.
I'm calling from Kogi State. Umar is my name.
Okay, what is happening there?
I'm calling from Kogi State. My name is Umar.
Yes, Omar. Yes, we know that.
I want to ask a question.
There was state election, right?
Hello.
State assembly election there.
Yes, only state assembly election. Yes, of course.
Okay. Is it a question you want to ask?
Yes, I want to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to know if conducting the election or they are contesting election. I want to ask the actor. Are they conducting election, contesting for the election? Because from all the reports we are getting today, it seems that there is a kind of improper monitoring of this election by INEC.
How do you mean?
The point is, look at the people I got from Lagos, look at the report I got from National State. I'm following your program this morning. The report you are getting, I think the INEC is a contestant, contesting for election, not conducting. If you observe very well from the report all over Nigeria.
Wow. Anyway, thank you very much. The right people will answer that question. INEC is watching also. But Ibrahim, Honorable Usman, you heard that INEC is contesting election, not conducting election.
How? What do you mean by contesting elections? INEC have tried that's what they can. Nothing more than that they can go about. Except if somebody is having any other special interest. Otherwise, what you have
honestly,
seen is okay.
To add to what you said, Honorable, INEC also release names of polling agents of political parties. Yes. They have gone far. They have done quite a lot. Of course, we are not dependent on INEC, right?
Some of them don't even have agents at all. And they expect INEC to manufacture it for them. Is that what they do?
INEC cannot do that.
They cannot do that. They cannot do that. They want to. Some people are creating a kind of a situation, a chances where they can have, a situation where they can make the noise.
Or do people have too much expectation on INEC?
Expectation by how?
To do so much.
INEC is an institution. An institution, it must follow due diligence. It must follow the process. If you don't follow the process, I think you fault to everything. So for INEC, I somebody to put blame on INEC. I don't think there's need for it.
As you said, I keep making reference to our last program on daily politics. Last night, the guest said, while you are expecting too much from INEC, you should also expect a lot from you.
From you, definitely.
He who comes to equity
exactly
must come with
There's no addiction in this
regard.
Political
parties, they are seriously lagging behind. Yes,
seriously.
I remember in Daily Trust here, we did an infographic showing the total number of polling agents of political parties. There are some political parties, they don't even have agents.
They don't. A lot of them. A lot of them, I don't want to name names, but not many of them are just there. They don't have, and they expect somebody to, I'm not speaking for INEC, but I'm speaking as a citizen. I'm just telling the truth, what I've seen.
All right, so we have another call coming in from Benue State. Hello? Louis from Benue.
Yes, sir.
All right, kindly go ahead with your contribution.
Sir, I'm calling away from Zone A, where the gubernatorial candidate of the PDP is coming from. But this is my take on this election.
Okay.
Anyway, in my area, that is in my polling booth, it was peaceful. But there are certain areas that we experience ballot box stuffing.
Okay.
Yes, like one of the polling booths very away from where I voted. They even tore the ballot papers, destroy materials, throw everything away.
Okay. Was there no security presence in those areas?
Pardon?
Was there no security presence? Were there no security agents there?
No security presence in that area.
Okay. Which area is that specifically?
Area, this is in Zone A.
Okay, Zone A.
Yes, in Bamana.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you for calling, and we're sure the right authorities are watching, and we hope they will do the needful. Yes, Honorable Usman, that fellow from Benue, he's alleging ballot stuffing and all that. Benue is where APC sprung serious surprise during the
presidential election. Yes.
I mean presidential election.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like the governor was so quiet since then. We will not be hearing from autumn, and I think that is the power of people. What do you think? People exercising their rights. You can see now powerful governors unable to influence anything.
That's the reference I'm giving you about this free and fair election that Mr. President conducted. At least this is the thing that we should applaud him for. So there are people who are disfranchised before, and now they have the opportunity to express their freedom and doing sort of things and all of that. That is one of those things that we should.
All right, thank you. We have another caller from Jigawa by name Lawan. Lawan, how is Jigawa and what is happening there?
Jigawa, there is going normal.
You are calling from which part of Jigawa, which local government area? Oh, we have lost him. That's Lawan. You see the irony. Earlier in the day, a student I taught at a school in Yobe when I was reporting from there, he sent, in fact, he wrote a story and sent. He wanted us to use it. He said he was in Jigawa, that the NNPP gubernatorial candidate was complaining of ballot snatching, ballot stuffing and all that. Now, Lawan, before we lost him, he said everything is calm. So I think it's like Nigeria's election is like the proverbial elephant. You know, it is from the direction you look at it that you will be able to give a verdict. Like
that's like a situation of give and take phenomena. That's what I really tell you, that one of the scholars says who get what, when, and how. And of course, if you see two people, this will tell you there are good things, and that one will say there are bad things in the same place. So whom do you support? So it is, you wait until when.
And that's why we always bring people like you to the studio.
To make some judgment in the first place.
Earlier in the morning, we brought people from Labour Party, from PDP, from SDP, and all that. And we open our lines for every other person, because we want to have a better Nigeria.
Better Nigeria. That's the question.
All of us.
Better Nigeria.
All right, well, talking about a better Nigeria, we have a president-elect. He's going to be sworn in on the 29th.
Inshallah.
So what do you think should be the first thing on the agenda?
Well, President-elect, I think, is a man that is ever prepared. And he has, somebody who has governed Lagos. He knows the complexity of Lagos. If somebody could manage Lagos and bring Lagos up to this moment, you can see, let me give you an example of Umaro being an Emilat of Lagos State. Up to the moment, that name is there bearing at him, and people are applauding for that, not to talk of him during the democratic era. Tinubu will manage the situation. I'm sure Nigerians will appreciate him for that.
Yes, and while we expect more calls, he issued a statement to this.
Yes, it's a man who says, I'm a father, come and let's do it together. I think that's enough for us to see
my biggest takeaway from that was where he spoke on, is it government of national competence?
Inclusiveness.
Yes, inclusiveness, but beyond inclusiveness, he was talking about competence.
Competence. Of course, when you want to say inclusiveness, it doesn't take garbage, all the kind of things. Select people. then you put them on board. That's what it says.
And we hope this cascades to these states. Honorable, we are going, 11 governors are seeking re-election.
Yeah.
But there are some that are facing steep opposition. And these people are from both APC and PD.
And other parties, yes.
Yes, for instance, in Gombe, you have a governor who is APC but is facing serious dilemma.
The APC will scale definitely.
In Bauchi, you have a PDP governor who is equally facing a serious challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, before you say something, let's take Okechukwu from Imo. Ikechukwu, welcome to the program. What is the latest in Imo?
There's no problem. Last month we went and the vote. There was no problem. Everything was fine.
Is it?
You are calling from which part of Imo?
For me, Imo State.
Okay.
But earlier we had that voter suppression, ballot snatching, and all that.
In my area, there was no problem. Everything went fine.
So are you happy with the process?
We talked about both in Imo State.
Ikegwe.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that contribution.
normal.
And of course,
This is really good news.
Very good news.
It's
Because
actually good to hear
Imo
news like
is
this.
actually the biggest red, right? The whole of Southeast, you know, they put it as red.
Alert and
Alert, or red alert. But now this is a caller from Imo.
and it's talking very good of whatever.
So I hope we keep receiving calls like this because it cheers people and it gives credibility to what we are doing.
and gives confidence as well. So do you think this is a triumph for security agencies? I mean, like, because the Southeast has been a place that has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, running up in the run-up to these elections.
Well, when it comes to, I'm not going to speak about the security, but at least security is a situation where you can always manage. In every complication of a situation, there must be a situations. So if the situation is managed, I think Nigeria got it.
And even though we're not having gubernatorial election in Imo, the stakes were very high ahead of the state
Exactly,
assembly.
because of the expectation of people feels there will be this and that, but unfortunately things went different way.
All right.
And I would thank God for such things.
All right, now let's hear from Abdullahi from Hadija in Jigawa. Abdullahi, what's your contribution?
So my contribution, I would like to thank the Nigerian securities, especially police.
Okay.
Really, they contribute tremendously in giving peace in this election.
Wow.
We are really conducting this election peacefully
Very well.
in Jigawa State.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
right.
has voting ended or people are still casting their vote?
We are still casting. We are still casting vote in some places.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much,
Exactly.
Abdullahi from Hadija in Jigawa, giving the thumbs up to security agents.
Yes, I said it during one of our programs that here, in Daily Trade, we even did an editorial commending the security agencies for their conduct during this election season. But sadly, some newspapers and even TV stations, they force themselves in creating, fake narrative.
News and all of that.
Yes, and I don't think if that will mean well for Nigeria, because all the verdict that we will receive from abroad is the aggregation of how the local media
reports.
I mean, that is it. They don't have the magic wand to, So what is the way forward, especially in relation to some media houses that believe reporting chaos is the real journalism, not giving room for peace.
For peace, exactly. That's one of these an issue that a lot of people have in mind, and people blame such situation for it. I believe we all know now, for the first decade that Nigeria is, trying to practice democracy and what have democracy governance here, I'm sure this is the first time that we got it right. I'm sure we started from the step one and we're ending well. I'm sure others, we can't control. You can't control it. We can always manage the situations. I believe Nigeria is getting it right. Those who are wishing us bad, they should carry their garbage around.
All right.
Those who are wishing us well, we should
Yes,
not happen.
we have Ahmed from Niger State. Ahmed, welcome to the program. What is the good news for us?
Yeah, it's coming from Niger State. My contribution is I am always surprised that we use Nigeria Army as a security that can guard the polling. It's a bad art. Because Nigerian Army are expected to be at the border side and be protecting every other foreign occurrences. So I was expecting they are supposed to be, and that's why we have a civil defense energy. We have a policeman that are supposed to do their work. But a lot of voters are not coming out because they are using Nigeria Army to criminate work. And they are also using them to come back for other people by using force. What is the contribution of it? Or what's your take?
All right, that's Ahmed from Net. Thank you very much. Yes, Ibrahim, you have had him.
Yes, well, it's nice to actually get to hear the contributions of people coming in from different parts of the country, and of course, just like you said, Nigerian politics is like the proverbial elephant. It depends on which where you look at it from. As well, talking about getting information from across the states, we have correspondents across the length and breadth of Nigeria giving us information about what's going on the conduct of the election. We'll take a look at some of those reports right now.
Majority of the arrests you see are people who were directly involved in vote buying. I'm sure, as you are all aware, our mandate as EFCC is to ensure that money influence in politics is totally cut out and eradicated. And if you have been following up with public enlightenment, you would have seen where my executive chairman has been on TV saying to everyone, when you find anyone report and those numbers are there. So we got credible intelligence, and then we acted on those intelligence. Well, all over the states, some were arrested out of the states, Omaro. Some were arrested also within Ilori, Ilori South, Ilori West. We were all over the states, all of the local government within the state. We found ourselves all over, and all of these arrests were made there. Quite a lot of money was still is still fresh now. We're looking at and then still to start investigation into some of them. Like you can see, there are POSs. Yes, so we can't tell you these are the sum. That was exactly what it is, but they are huge. They're quite a lot. The investigation will prove all of that, like I said, but someone was arrested around there. We are an agency set up by law. We go by the provisions of the law. We work within the ambit of the law. We won't go outside the law. So we strictly will follow the provisions of the law, basically. So that's what it is.
I'm happy to be here. Thank God we are alive to witness the 18th of March 2023 for the Governorship and State House of Assembly elections. It has been peaceful. People are excited and happy. You can see around. People are very, very excited that the election is taking place today. So just like I've been telling everybody, we should vote wisely, and at the same time we should support INEC and the security agencies here to do their work very well. But so far it is calm, and the process, just like the presidential, has been seamless. There was a peace accord signed by all the governorship candidates, and we are men of honor, and we are to abide by whatever it is that was signed in the peace accord. So yes, if I win, I'll be expecting them to call me and congratulate me. But at the same time, if they win, I will surely call them and congratulate them, because it's all about Adamawa State.
Well, as of this moment, election is going on across Kano State. But then, like I reported earlier, there are some violence there and then. Earlier, we reported to you that there is violence in the polling unit of the NNPP gubernatorial candidate Abba Kabir Yusuf, where some thugs attempted to disrupt the process. And on the other hand, these people are accusing the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Abdullahi Abbas, of sponsoring thugs to disrupt the election process because they are in the same ward. It's just a difference of polling box. So this crisis, we have seen how thugs was actually pursuing a police officer with a knife, and then we have also seen how the supporters of the NNPP are pursuing supporters of the APC from the units of NNPP gubernatorial candidate, and we have also seen how supporters of the APC chairman are equally pursuing supporters of the NNPP in their polling units. So these two crises have happened, and we don't know what will happen in the next couple of hours.
As my constituency is concerned, I'm confident that at the end of the day, the INEC is going to conduct a credible election. However, we have some issues of violence. Even here in my constituency, I was reliably informed that the APC chairman, who has been a notorious party leader, has also today brought so many thugs into the voting units, and they have perpetrated violence. They have conducted themselves in an unruly manner, and that has been his character, which we, for quite a long time, we informed the security agencies.
All right, updates there coming in from different parts of the country, from Kwara and Adamawa, and of course Kano, giving us updates on the conduct of the governorship and House of Assembly elections. Well, right now at this point in time, we'd like to say a very big thank you to Honorable Usman Ibrahim, member APC, and of course MBO Dynamic Support Group, for coming into the studio.
Thank you very much.
All right, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I will have to have you again.
All right. So we'll take a short break right now, and when we return top of the hour, the show continues. To stay with us.
I think everything is going on okay. People have voted. The INEC officials, they came quite early, and the process is going on okay. Well, I heard the turnout is not as high as expected, but now we're appealing to people, to come out. They were thinking there'll be security challenges. Well, you can see the people. I don't have to even think twice. They want Omititu 2.0 in Oyo.
I think the process is very prompt today, but looking at what I'm saying here, the turnout is very low compared to what we had 2 weeks ago, and this is quite disappointing. I don't know why, but the turnout is very, very low. I guess maybe it could be the violence that happened a few days ago. Maybe people are scared of coming out.
My Lord is with me. So I've done all my preparations. That's all I can do. The Almighty has already written what will happen today, at the end of today, and the future. So I just do my best to prepare, and I leave the rest to God. No, I keep going on because, again, politics is not a one-day mission. It's not a one-week thing. It's a lifetime thing, lifetime of dedication, service. So I will keep serving my people regardless of the turnout today. I hope it will be in my favor. I think I'm the candidate to beat, but again, we cannot be overconfident.
No, but that is ours. Yeah, the 106. PDP kuma 56.
It's equal to 4. Bacin da mun kawo na tafa gurara da mu musu bankara. Wallahi bankara za mu musu wallahi. Allah. Daman nan abin da muke nima kadan muke nima muka samu 50% ya ɗaje mu. Ya ƙasa wallahi.
Welcome back. For those who are just joining us, this is Nigeria Decide from our studios here in Abuja. It is me and my colleague.
Yes, we have been here trying to give us updates about the governorship and House of Assembly elections going on across the country. And
Yes.
of course, we've been getting updates from all various states across the country.
Yes, and joining us in the studio is Kende Amadu, our in-house analyst. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And I'm a veteran broadcaster. So thank you very much for joining us in the studio. Well, we have heard reports of how elections have gone about in different parts of the country. And what's your take?
I think when they say that politics is local, this is what we're seeing. The stakes are higher, especially for the governors that want to come back, or the governors that want to elect or install their own successors.
Maybe they will be upset this time around, as we noticed during the presidential election. Don't you think so?
I think the margin of upsets will not be as wide as the presidential.
You think it will reduce?
That is why
is it 8 or 7 governors that were unable to make it to the Senate?
That's why you've seen an increase in incidences. You see that the incidences this week were more than the incidences last week.
Is it because the stakes are higher?
The stakes are higher for the local politicians.
Wow.
That's it.
They don't want to miss out.
They don't want to miss out.
By hook or crook.
So we've got reports, we heard the reports and some from Kwara State, where the EFCC has actually apprehended some people for electoral misconduct, which was bordering on vote buying.
20.
Yes.
20, that's a large number.
Yes.
Yeah, you've seen the track of, or we should replay it?
I think we should refresh our memory on what just happened in Kwara State specifically.
Majority of the arrests you see are people who were directly involved in vote buying. I'm sure, as you are all aware, our mandate as EFCC is to ensure that money influence in politics is totally cut out and eradicated. And if you have been following up with public enlightenment, you would have seen where my executive chairman has been on TV saying to everyone when you find anyone report and those numbers are there. So we got credible intelligence, and then we acted on those intelligence. Well, all over the states, some were arrested out of the states, Omaro. Some were arrested also within Ilori, Ilori South, Ilori West. We were all over the states. All of the local government within the state, we found ourselves all over. And all of these arrests were made there. Quite a lot of money was still, it's still fresh now. We're looking at and then still to start investigation into some of them. Like you can see, there are POSs. Yes, so we can't tell you these are the sum. That was exactly what it is, but they are huge. They're quite a lot. The investigation will prove all of that, like I said, but someone was arrested around there. We are an agency set up by law. We go by the provisions of the law. We work within the ambit of the law. We won't go outside the law. So we strictly will follow the provisions of the law, basically. So that's what it is.
All right. So once again, we are talking about this cancer in our electoral process. We're talking about vote buying with the cashless policy in place, and we just heard that they were using point of sale machines exactly to actually do that, trying to subvert the system. Is that a kick in the teeth to the cashless policy?
It's not really a kick in the teeth, although. I think the president spoke too soon this morning.
Yes, he said collect the money and go for your conscience.
Go for your conscience. So he had said that the cashless policy that reduced the influence of money in the elections, and then this is happening. But obviously, some people will slip through the cracks, and that is what we are seeing. I don't think it's as widespread as what we used to have in the past. There's been some check. But I've always said this, vote buying takes many forms. Like we're now seeing the introduction of POS machines, which means...
It's really scandalous.
Yes.
And I was shocked earlier in the morning when I read a story that in one of the states in Northwest, that they are giving 10,000. It's like the stakes in even buying the votes are much higher. Before it was 2,000, 1,000 or 3,000. But now 10,000 cash in one of the states.
You have to add in inflation and all of that. I mean, like 2,000.
Where did they get the money? Because that is my concern. And in another location, I don't know whether it is in the southeast, they arrested some people. They have loaded 10,000 also in ATM cards. They'll just give you the card and you now go and cast. You will cast the vote, then come and get the card. They arrested these people. It's like the stakes in terms of corrupting the electorate has also gone higher.
So that's why I was saying earlier on that now it's the real local politics. Now it's the one that concerns. Like if you were, for instance, a governor that was campaigning for the president 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
You are campaigning for somebody else.
Now you are campaigning for yourself.
Campaigning for yourself.
And also for maybe members of the state assembly.
Yes.
Because the more you have them, the better for you.
The better for you.
And if you are campaigning in somebody's constituency, you have to do double. Yes. Because you can't just do it in isolation.
Look at a state like Osun, for instance, that doesn't have a governorship election going on.
Yes.
And you see these kinds of...
Even in Kogi, you can see, even in Edo, they don't have a gubernatorial election.
But you see that these movements...
So this localized nature of this particular election now, does it speak to the upturn that we saw in the level of violent incidents that we have heard?
Yeah. All these things come to play. The whole point is to outwit your opponent. And this is what is going down now. You know, it was a scare 2 weeks ago when traditional strongholds were lost to relative neophytes. And they said, and we were there and this happened. So they went back home and did their homework. I've been saying it all the while that this election will be the real We'll show you
the real colors.
The real colors.
I don't know. The electoral map, it changed.
Yes.
Compared to any other election, because you see new parties encroaching into territories of other political parties and vice versa. Earlier, when we were talking about whether there will be upsets, will the electoral map this time around shift? Or you think some of those things that happened during the presidential and National Assembly election, history will be repeated?
I think to some extent, there are some people that have already lost the confidence of their voters. And so,
you mean like governors?
Yes, there are some governors that have already lost it. So they know. And so there's no coming back.
Because we have 11 of them that are seeking re-election, and then we're going to have 17 new ones, and we will have 993 state constituencies.
Yes.
So, do you foresee new parties again? We have 18. Of course, about 7 of them have made it to the National Assembly, right? Yes. Are we going to have like maybe 10, maybe in some states, making it to the State House of Assembly, or the numbers will reduce based on your study of, politics here? We have some of the numbers there.
Well, going forward, I think these elections, things may not change too much. You are putting me on the spot.
Yes, because we brought you purposely for this.
Things may not change too much because of what we've always called the structure. And because of the fact that some places where the new parties lost in the last election, there's voter apathy also added to all of this. So you might see the traditional strongholds struggling, to retain the status quo.
Okay.
That may happen. That will probably happen a lot. Because I don't see, for instance, the states that have the monopoly of violence allowing the state to slip from their hands.
Wow.
You understand?
But what will they do? What will they do, Mr. Kane?
They'll suppress. They'll suppress the voters.
Because I can see, we mentioned some states here. Of course, in Lagos, said voter suppression. In Ebonyi, they said, if you are not voting for PDP,
go back home.
Go back. No. PDP and ABGA, they are alleging that they say if you don't vote for APC, you go back home. This is in Ebonyi. In Benue, ballots, stuffing. In Kaduna, it is the governor and the candidate saying things are not really funny in southern Kaduna.
Yeah. So, we will see strongholds struggling to maintain.
Yeah.
But then we will also see, and they'll suppress voters, they'll buy votes, they will ensure that electoral materials don't arrive on time. That is not
places.
In some places.
So
that will not be INEC's fault. But getting across to those places will be made more difficult. Then you understand. For instance, elections in I think 10
polling units. Yes, in Lagos.
In Lagos.
Yes,
have been postponed till tomorrow.
Yes, and the REC cited fear. Among the INEC officials that they were intimidated during the presidential election. When our Bureau Chief Abiodun Alado, when he joined us from Lagos, we asked him this question: that what guarantee do they have, and what is the difference between today and tomorrow? He said most likely they will mobilize more security operatives to secure lives and property.
Like what they did in Oyo State. In Oyo State, there was heavy mobilization of security because the battle lines had already been drawn. And so there was every likelihood to be violence. Now you have, with most of the states counted, you have a smaller geographical area to pile security in to ensure that the votes, the count goes ahead.
So how would you rate the performance of the security agents? I mean, most especially during this particular election.
I think they've done well. You know, the peculiar Nigerian situation, you can't do excellently within the particular situation. But the fact that you have arrests being made,
especially by EFCC.
You have people protecting units. I think they foiled attempts by people to take away ballot boxes in some areas in Lagos also. You understand? In some areas in Osun also. So, you know, they've done okay. But under the circumstances in which they operate, you can't expect 100%.
Okay. Yeah, but they still, according to your assessment, they did very well.
No, they did well.
So let's look at INEC now. Let's look at INEC now. INEC's performance during this particular election. I mean, like, so lots of mistakes were actually taken out from the presidential election. Do you think they were able to rectify some of them?
Well, according to reports, voting accreditation deployment to site was generally better this time around.
All right. Maybe let's have Emmanuel Njoku, who is joining us via Zoom. Welcome to the program, Mr. Emmanuel. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, from COD. What is your impression about happenings since morning, Mr. Njoku?
Well, this election is a reflection of Nigeria and how Nigeria is, as a matter of fact. I think it has been overambitious of us to expect something different from what Nigeria is. So what we have seen in this election, for me, is just the usual Nigerian thing. It's not far from what we see every day in an everyday society and everyday Nigeria. And while we may say, yes, that there are some small gains here and there on the part of INEC, but overall, I would say that overall, we are still not making any meaningful progress the way I see this election. I say this because I always consider there are three critical stakeholders that determine how election and what elections will be like in the field. These three stakeholders are: one, INEC; two, security personnel law enforcement agencies; and three, the politicians. Now, the last election, obviously, we saw that INEC didn't do well in their deployment, in their late deployment, in the processes, in not giving Nigerians enough time to vote, voting going down deep into the night. But in this election, I will commend INEC for early deployment and early opening of polls. From the data we are getting, the reports we are getting from the field, in all the polling units where we had observers observe the election, the report shows that in 80% of the polling, 79% of the polling units opened within 8:30 till 9 a.m. And so this is good.
Positive.
And then we've seen how the Beavers performed better than even did in the last election. So it looks like the Beavers keeps getting better after every election, coming from what we saw in FCT Council election, what we saw at the Ekiti election, what we saw at the Osun election, then the presidential election, and now. It just keeps getting better. And I want to believe that the technology has come to stay, because it has really helped in checking the fraud we see in polling units with manual accreditation. That is
okay, Mr. Njoku, have you heard of some glitches in respect to the deployment of beavers? Have they worked effectively based on the reports you are getting so far?
Yes, it has worked effectively in the reports we are getting. Yes, there could have been pockets of places where, the beavers may have had issues, but it's not. It's something that's expected. If you want the beaver to work 100% across, but that's never possible. So if the beaver Beavers have performed very well in 95 or 97% of these cases. That is really good. And in the great
Of course.
so I anticipate that this Beavers is not supposed to also work perfectly well. And which is why the Electoral Act has already taken care of this in anticipation that where the Beavers fails to work or where the Beavers starts to work and stops working in between, that INEC shall replace the Beavers device before 2:30 and then merge the data on the two Beavers to be able to tabulate and collate at the end of the election. So the Beavers has done well. Now, where I was heading to now arrive at the point of saying overall, I do not think I think we're just moving around in circles and not making progress, because the last election, you see security personnel and deployment do well, and meanwhile, on the other hand, you see INEC will bungle the whole thing. And today we are seeing INEC doing their own part, doing well, while across the country, the security lapses across the country has caused a lot of voter intimidation, voter suppression, intimidation, harassment, vote buying right in front of security personnel. So you see, so when we look at it holistically, you see, I don't think we're really making any progress. I don't really think. When we gain here, we lose here. When we get back to where we lost and we gain there, we lose here. So you see, we are still in the same place. That's how I see this election so far.
All right, so how serious or how rampant were the cases of voter suppression and intimidation the reports that you got? How rampant and how serious are they?
So first of all, to start with, I don't know if you've seen the report of our observer in Ebonyi State that was beaten up with bloody eyes. She was beaten up in a particular polling unit. And what was her crime? So you're also aware that all our observers were deployed in polling units where they are registered to vote. That way they will be able to vote while they also observe the election. What crime did this young lady, her name is Ozodimma Lucy Ogodo, what crime did she commit? Well, she needed to vote, and when she was going to vote, she was asked not to vote for the party she wanted to vote for, that she must vote for the APC. And she ended up voting for the party she wanted to vote. They dragged her ballot trying to tear it, and she got beaten, blue-red eyes. She was bleeding. It's all over the social media. Different media houses are reporting it. So that is voter suppression. So why do our politicians do this? You are asking that we should vote you in to serve. You want to serve, and you are forcing me to choose you to serve me. So that's when I talk about these three actors that are critical stakeholders in the whole election conversation, talking about INEC, security personnel, and the politicians. So you see, when INEC do well, security on their own will fail, or security on their own will collude with the political parties, because all these things we are seeing, the voter suppression we are seeing, the voter intimidation we are seeing, in Lagos State where I see people being beaten with sticks, or people not allowed to vote, even in places where people are not even allowed to come to the polls. We've seen security personnel in these places. There is a video that we just published on our Usabe platform now, where we saw the big political man in that local government, who I think is APC, coming to a polling unit with armored personnel carrier truck and loads of police people following him on an election day, clearly against the electoral guideline. So you see, that's why I've said that I don't think it's really just working. So while I celebrate and I commend INEC in their deployment today, and as we speak right now, you can see that the IREV is up and loading. For a place like Lagos State, this is just 25 past 6 o'clock. Lagos State is already recording close to about 42% of results already uploaded. And the same thing is happening across the country. So while we are commending that and the gains that INEC have made, and probably the corrections they've made from the failures of their shortcomings and failures in the February 25th election, the security personnel, in as much as they were deployed, and in as much as we've seen in some polling units where we saw them trying to counter ballot box snatchers. We saw in Benue State where someone was shot dead. We also saw somewhere in a quarter in Lagos State where someone was also shot dead by the security personnel. But the whole thing is just not working, because in many other places where you see people come to snatch the ballot box, or the big man there is intimidating voters, or the people are buying votes, this is happening right in front of security personnel.
Okay, Mr. Njoku, how will you now score? How will you score the security personnel across the country? Because you have mentioned some of these cases, but we've received many calls where the security operatives were commended for a good job. But at your center, what is your assessment? How will you rate them, and where do you think they should improve?
For me, in this election, like I said, no matter how good INEC wants to perform, if the security personnel do not rise to the occasion to be able to protect voters across Nigeria, not in some regions, across Nigerians, if the security personnel do not rise to protect Nigerians, the election cannot exactly be credible. And this doesn't need to happen on the election day. We saw yesterday the guy that works for the APC who was caught on tape, threatening a particular people from a part of this country, saying Iyachukudi and your people should not come out and vote. And yesterday we saw on one of the national TVs, is it the PRO of Lagos State Police wearing his uniform and telling Nigerians that they should take that comment as a joke? How can you take such comment as a joke? Someone is saying something that is very inciting and that can cause voter intimidation and harassment, and arrest was not made. Arrest has not still been made up until now. When you see these things, so my point is, no matter how much INEC prepares, if the security personnel are not on ground to protect the voters, you cannot say that the election was free, fair, and credible. What is free? When citizens are not allowed to come into some polling units to be able to cast their votes to the candidates of their choice. What is free? When people are not allowed, materials are not even deployed to some areas. What is free? Like what we saw in a particular polling unit in Aguda, Surulere, where at the opening of the polls, we also reported that the presiding officer, when she was opening polls and making her first addressing the public, she was telling everybody clearly that in this election today, please, that we are not going to be uploading, we will not upload, that so if you don't want to vote, if you don't want us to do this voting today, tell us, let's just pack up and go. But if we are going to do this thing, let's just know that we will not upload. And at the end of the election in that particular, because we followed up as at 4 o'clock when elections finished there, the citizens insisted that she will upload. She refused to upload. And from nowhere, a police hillocks came to that place and took these people away from those, literally put them in their cars and drove them out of that places without them uploading. So what is really free, fair? And, so when I look at it sometimes, even in all of these shortcomings, and I ask myself, what is the way forward? Because frankly, if you look at INEC, the staff of INEC is just 16,000, less than 17,000. That is the total staff of INEC across Nigeria. But in this election, we understand that INEC has recruited over 1.2 million persons that will be working for them across Nigeria. These people are Nigeria. These people are Nigerians who live in Nigeria, who are part of the society, who are an everyday part of the disappointing things we see in the country. Now, these people, 1.2 million people being in the INEC database of people that work for INEC, should I really expect anything different from what we see in Nigeria every day? It's just, we just have to find other ways to, get this thing working. The level of voter intimidation and harassment and how crude it was today gives us feelings and vibes of 2007, 2011 elections, where we saw very crude way of harassing and intimidating voters. I'm shocked that we are still seeing this level of voter intimidation and suppression.
Some of these ad hoc staff have alleged that they have not even been paid, Mr. Njoku. Some of the ad hoc staff, yes, recruited by INEC.
So
they allege that they have not been paid,
The question we should ask is, what is the standard procedure of engaging these people? INEC has not told us. Are they supposed to be paid before they go to the field? Are they supposed to be paid 25% or 50% before they go to the field? We understand. Are they supposed to be paid the balance of their money when they return back and finish the assignment, which the national assignment they have been given? In the last election, presidential election, we understood that some of the NURTW, the drivers that were supposed to take these materials, were insisting that they will be paid 100%. How can they come up on election day? And so that's what I'm talking about, the people, the Nigerians who are part and parcel of this process. Should we expect really anything different from them if we continue to run election the same way we've been running election in this country, deploying this huge number, putting power in the hands of over 1 million Nigerians who do not really have any, and at the point of recruitment, nothing is checked as regards their integrity and their antecedents. It's just about recruiting people without knowing their past and what they've done in the past. Just recruit people. What should you expect out of this? Well, it depends on what the agreement that they signed So INEC will need to come out and tell us. INEC will need to come out and tell us what the agreement they signed, and
So
if they're
many
asking for
questions for
100%
INEC.
payment, which I think that is not the what is obtainable in.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your contributions there. Lots and lots of issues to discuss, and of course, a lot of things they are brought to the fore. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, Emmanuel Njoku is the Director of Democracy and Governance at Connected Development. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Mr. Kennedy.
He said a lot of things.
Yeah.
So before we go quickly, can you just briefly give us an overview, summary of all the things that he has actually said? Was he on point? Is he right to actually criticize the security agencies in this particular manner? Because he seems to have actually
he took INEC to clean us.
He took the security agencies.
I mean, like INEC and security, the entire process to the cleaners.
Yes, he almost rubbished the entire process completely.
Well, he's speaking from a point of view of being an observer and seeing what happened on the field. But like you pointed out, you've had calls too, commending the security agencies. You understand? So it's two sides of a coin. You understand? Everybody has different ideas about what should go down and what should not go down. But he raised a critical point. He says there are 1.2 million Nigerians, ad hoc staff.
Yeah.
And you should expect something better. And let me go a step further and put myself on a limb and say that 1.2 million Nigerians are youths that are supposed to be looking to the future of the country, their future. And we've seen issues of collusion and everything like that. It raises questions. So it is not, it's the whole entire system. Not just to point fingers. It's the whole entire system. How committed are we Nigerians to seeing a change for the better? Beyond the rhetoric, beyond the grandstanding, there must be a stand that is taken. That even if the guys that are the thugs are not old men, they're also youths. Everybody must
be clamoring for change.
Must take a change to make the country better, or else we will continue to have all these recurring problems, and next election cycle we'll still talk about the same things.
All right. Well, that's a valid point there made by Kende Amadou, and I think it's
on
apt.
point.
Yes, it's actually apt at this point.
Yeah.
That, we all know that we are all Nigerians.
But I hope we get time and call out the politicians, because the security agents, INEC officials are on that. If not for the influence of politicians, they will not misbehave.
But who empowers the politicians? If the politician does not have followership, how will he get away with some of these things?
All right.
Still fall back.
We'll definitely put a pin in that, and we'll talk about this when the show returns. On top of the hour, right now, we'd like to say a very big thank you to Kende Amadou, veteran broadcaster. I'd like to say that.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
As we await the results.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the offsets.
And the offsets, yes.
Exactly, which we will definitely look at. All right, well, just like as I said, we're going to take a break on the show right now. We'll return at the top of the hour to continue talking about issues as they arise concerning the governorship and State House of Assembly elections right here on Trust TV. I am Ibrahim Yusuf.
Thank you for being with us. I'm Hamza Idris. Do stay with us for the next edition of the program. Thank you.
eyes what happened, the number of thugs he borrowed.
In election, you have small crises here and there, but so far so good. And the police are trying seriously. The turnout is perfect. Everything is going perfectly. We appreciate the way people are behaving. And the security agencies, what they are doing is recommendable. They should be calm and vote for the candidate they want.
We have learned that some arrests were made across the state. We learned that the managing director of Kano State Transport Authority has been arrested for disrupting election in Gomaja area of Kano Metropolis. We also heard that there are crises not only within Kano Metropolis, there are crises outskirts. We had a report of crisis in Rimingado local government, in Rano local government, in Sumaila local government. In so many places, pocket of violence are being reported, and the police spokesman is saying that they are making some arrests of people who are perpetrating this crisis. Now, also, any moment we do know that the NNPP presidential candidate Rabiu Musa Konkoso will be addressing a press conference, and I want to believe that he will be addressing this kind of issues arising from the election here in Kano. Unlike that of the presidential election, of course, during the presidential election, some violence were reported there and then. But I must tell you that the magnitude of the one happening here today is actually different with what happens during the presidential election.
It's okay. 129 is okay. 129. The agent is not agreeing. 129. I don't believe if you use that it's 139.
Your governorship, total number of votes casted, 199. Total number of votes casted, 199. Out of which, APC scored 102 votes. PDP scored 91 votes. AGP scored 1 vote. And total number of invalid votes 5. And brings all this to a total of 199. For the State House of Representatives, State House of Assembly. State House of Assembly. Total number of votes casted 199, of which APC scored 97 votes, PDP scored 91 votes, Labour Party scored 6 votes, Booth Party scored 1 vote. Total number of invalid votes 4, and brings all this to the total of 195, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100.
Okay, let's go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
I'm happy to be here. Thank God we are alive to witness the 18th of March 2023 for the Governorship and State House of Assembly